Okay, we're going to start this lesson by opening up the Inch Helper template. And the first tool that we're going to go over is the copy tool, but I need to draw a couple of shapes first. So I'm just going to get my rectangle tool and draw a rectangle. And then in the modify panel up at the top, so you can see right here, there is an icon that looks like a circle with another circle and an arrow in between it. That's the copy command. First thing I need to do is select the object I want to copy. Press enter. Then I'm going to choose a base point, and that's like where I'm going to move it from, so copy it from. And I want to choose a corner, so I'm going to turn on endpoint object snap and get that corner. And now you can see that I can click and drag out, and I can make copies of this rectangle. So if I wanted several rectangles the same size, the copy command is where I want to go. Alright, so there's several more advanced features for the copy tool, and to show you them, I'm going to go ahead and delete out these rectangles. So give me 1 second to do that. Alright, I'm going to draw another rectangle in order to show you the other advanced copy tools. I'm going to go back up to the copy command, and this time I'm going to select the object, press enter, select the base point again. I'm going to choose one of the corners, and press enter, and now I'm going to choose A for array. And what that's going to do is it's going to let me choose how many times I want to copy it in a certain direction. I typed in 4 and pressed enter, and now you can see that it's allowing me to make 4 copies in any direction that I move my mouse. So go ahead and try that on your own computer, see how it works. If you want to make them directly line up, you can turn on ortho mode and make sure that they're vertical exactly or horizontal exactly. And you can turn off ortho mode if you want it to be at a diagonal. Go ahead and try that on yours. I'm going to do it one more time. This time I'm going to do a little bit different. Same copy tool, select my object, get the base point as a corner again. Remember, I'm pressing enter between all these commands. I typed in A for array. This time I'm going to do 5 copies. And then I'm going to type the letter F for fit. And that means that instead of choosing the first copy, and instead of holding my cursor where the first copy goes, I hold my cursor where the last copy goes. And it perfectly fits those 5 in between the first point and the last point. Just 2 different ways to do arrays. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and delete those out, and we're going to try something else. So let's go ahead and get our polygon tool. We're going to do the mirror command in just a second. So I'm just drawing a pentagon here, so a 5-sided polygon, and I'm just going to eyeball it here. And then I'm going to go up to my modify panel again and look for the command called mirror. Select the object that I want to mirror. And then the next part, so after I select, I press enter, and then I have to draw a line to mirror it across. And I turned on ortho so I could get a perfectly vertical line that I want to mirror it across, but you could do a line anywhere. After you draw the line, it's going to ask you if you want to erase the original object or not. I want to actually see both the original and the copy, or the mirrored object, so I said no. You can always, once again, you can always draw your mirror line in any direction you want without ortho mode, so you can see that it's mirroring it in any direction that I draw that line. So go ahead and try that out on your computer. Mirror a couple objects and see how that works for you. Alright, erasing out these pentagons and moving on to our next topic, which is the fillet tool. And this is very similar to when we used fillets on rectangles as we're making them, but we're going to do it now after we make a rectangle or in another shape. So the first thing I want to do is draw out a few shapes that I'm going to fillet. And so the first one is 2 perpendicular lines. I used ortho mode to draw those. And then 2 2 horizontal lines that are parallel. And then finally, I'm going to draw 2 circles. And then I'm set up to do a couple of different fillets. Okay, so after drawing our shapes, we're going to go up to the fillet tool in the modify panel. And it looks just like the fillet tool that we used earlier on the rectangles. And you simply select the 2 edges that you want to fillet. Now, it defaults to a 0 radius fillet, so you're not going to see anything unless you change the radius to start with. So click on the fillet tool and then type in R for the radius, and then I'm just going to change it to 0.5 For this example, press enter, or sorry, 2.25, and then select the two lines that I want to fill it in between. You can see it already created that curved line in between. You can do it as well with two parallel lines. So in my next example, I'm going to change the radius to 0.5. So type in R, enter, 0.5, enter, and then select the two lines. And there's the radius right there. And then the last example is two circles, and you can actually create a fillet in between the two circles. So I'm keeping the radius of 0.5 and just selecting the two objects, and you can see that it created that beautiful fillet in between the circles. Another way to use the fillet tool is by creating a polyline shape. So that's like a polygon. And then instead of just selecting two sides of the polygon, after you click the fillet tool, you click on P or type P and press enter, and then it actually selects all 5 or however many sides of the shape and fillets all of them together. So that just makes it a little bit more efficient than doing each side individually. Alternatively, you can also draw a two intersecting lines, and then use the trim feature in the fillet tool. So click on fillet tool and then T, enter for trim, and then just make sure it says turn it on. And then you can select the two lines, and it will trim out anything that goes beyond the fillet. Just some extra advanced features of the fillet tool. The last tool I'm going to show you is the chamfer tool, and I created 4 rectangles here just to show you some examples. And the chamfer tool is located, it's the same button as the fillet tool. You just click on that down arrow and make sure you're on chamfer. The first thing it tells you to do is to select a distance, and you can type in the distance of your first line and the second line, and then select the two lines that you want to actually create a fillet on, or sorry, a chamfer on. Alternatively, if you're using a rectangle, which is a polygon, you can use the polyline command, and that will take the same chamfer that you just used and actually create it on every single corner of that rectangle. And then there's the angle method. So if you click on angle first, you can type in the distance of the first side, which we'll use 1 for example, and then you're going to type in the angle, which is 30 for example. Select the line with the distance, and then select the other line, and that will create an angled chamfer. Same thing if you do a polyline with the same angle. So if you do the distance, the angle, and then click on polyline instead of just clicking, it will do the entire shape, all 4 corners. Now it's your turn to try out some of the exercises for this lesson.